Most people who have anxiety or stress related conditions or mental illnesses in general desire strongly and demand a quick fix or short term gratification to solve the problem. But the reality is, there's a root cause to every issue, and until you address the root cause, or at least understand what's causing your condition, you're never going to solve it, and you're never going to find complete relief from the condition. So, in the case of anxiety, it's kind of complicated to address the root cause because there's so many different things that can cause it. First thing you need to understand is that anxiety is extremely common. It is a natural part of life, and most people don't realize it, but they're actually causing themselves to be anxious all the time. We have to understand that in the face of a perceived threat, whether that is I might be late for work, I might lose my job, my girlfriend might break up with me, traffic is, it's going to take forever to get home, someone's going to kick my ass, or I might have an illness, I might have cancer, I'm going to die. All these things are thoughts that become habits the more we think them, and they're worrying, and these are perceived threats. Okay? The same thing as when we were cavemen and we saw a saber-toothed tiger. It was a threat, and our fight or flight response served a purpose. It kicked in and gave us the power and the stress and the sharpness that it takes to kill the saber-toothed tiger at that time. Literally the same thing's happening now, only the saber-toothed tiger, or the threat, is now dumb crap. Like, oh my god, like I might have, cancer, I'm gonna die, my girlfriend's gonna break up with me, I'm gonna be late to work. All these dumb thoughts in our head, they don't serve us any purpose. Number one, they're just things that we perceive. Okay? They're literally only happening in our mind. They're not in reality. Number two, even if they did happen in reality, most of the time these things would not be as huge of a problem as we make it out to be in our brain. Usually they're more exaggerated in our brain than they actually are in real life. And, number three, doesn't matter how much you worry, you're not going to be able, it's not going to help you. Okay, you're trying to prepare, but being anxious actually is counterproductive and shuts off your prefrontal cortex, which basically means shuts off your efficient, logical thought processes. So, it's more beneficial to relax in order to come up with a plan than to be anxious. Okay, the more stressed you are, the harder it is to think clearly. So this whole worrying is probably the number one cause of anxiety for most people. And for most mental illnesses, it really is just a matter of how you see the world and your approach to events in your life. Of course, it's hard for most people to understand this because it's so much easier to believe that we are a victim to our condition, which we're not. But it's a habit of thought. And if you believe that, it's a biological or a genetic condition, well, then you're never going to find the solution. And you're never going to really, really try to change your thought process to benefit you. And you're never going to conquer the problem. But besides the mental aspect of anxiety, there are a lot of physical causes. Blood sugar imbalances is one of the most common causes. And even if you think you eat healthy, even if you eat all organic, there's a such thing as organic sugar, okay? And even things like honey, agave nectar. It's not that these things are bad, but if you are consuming them before exercise, and you're going and you're exercising vigorously, these carbs will burn off during exercise, and they can be used to fuel exercise. They can be used before and during, and possibly directly after. But if you're consuming too much of any of these, especially if you don't exercise, you definitely can have blood sugar imbalances, pre-diabetes, and whether you're diagnosed with diabetes or pre-diabetes or not, these things can definitely cause hypoglycemia, hyperglycemia, and cause anxiety through this, okay? Having too much sugar or too little blood sugar at once can definitely induce anxiety. So if you think you might have a blood sugar issue, if you're drinking any sodas at all, if you're drinking any energy drinks, if you're consuming more than 2 tablespoons of sugar or organic sugar or honey or any of that in your coffee or in your tea at one time, you probably do have some kind of blood sugar imbalance, okay? And don't even hurt yourself this way, thinking like, oh, no, that's bullshit, 2 tablespoons is not that much, yada yada. Please don't do yourself that kind of disservice. At least entertain this theory. At least try limiting your carbohydrates for 2 weeks besides before your exercise, okay? If you are not exercising, you have literally no reason to be consuming simple sugars whatsoever. And this whole like, oh, well, it makes my beverages taste better. That's literally, like, if you stopped consuming concentrated forms of sugar for 2 weeks, eventually you would stop craving it. Okay, but because you keep these things in your diet, you crave them. But I'm not saying all carbs are bad. What I am saying is that limiting your carbohydrates, if you don't need it, will help to stabilize your blood sugar. And this will help you with your mood. Okay, how do you expect to have stable moods and have a relaxed mind if the main source of energy for your brain, or so they say, glucose, is imbalanced? You can't. It's just, you're not optimizing your mental performance. So this is probably the second main cause after mindset that is responsible for anxiety. Before you try anything else, get your blood sugar on check. If you haven't addressed your mindset, you have not addressed your blood sugar levels, you have no business being on antidepressant drugs. That's fucking retarded. You have no business even trying herbs or natural remedies. The most important things are your mindset and your blood sugar levels. Seriously. The third cause is another hormone besides insulin. Is insulin and blood sugar. It's a hormone. But estrogen, cortisol, estrogen and cortisol, also progesterone and yada yada, but these can all be addressed through the same theory, the same protocol. For cortisol, most people do not just have elevated cortisol for no reason. You can take herbs to lower cortisol, but if you have your blood sugar on check, your cortisol levels should be fine. If you sleep well, if you sleep 8 hours a night, and you get really deep sleep, then your cortisol levels should be fine. If you cannot sleep, obviously you're going to have high cortisol. So to get better sleep, you could try taking a small dose of melatonin. I think 0.25 milligrams. So that's a quarter of 1 milligram, 0.25 milligrams of melatonin at the same time every night before you fall asleep will help you sleep. Melatonin is not a sleep enhancer. Melatonin is simply a hormone that triggers your brain to fall asleep at the time that it is released. So if you take melatonin at 9 p.m., you're telling your brain this is a time to go to sleep at 9 p.m. every night. So you take it at whatever time you want to go to bed at the same time every single night. And then you can stop taking it and your brain will automatically fall asleep at that time. This will help to induce deeper sleep. Make sure it's a very low dose though. Do not overdo it. Another thing, ashwagandha. Ashwagandha will help you sleep. Ashwagandha will increase GABA in your brain, which induces relaxation, calms anxiety, and it does clinically, it has been shown in studies that it lowers cortisol. This will help you sleep. This will lower cortisol. This will help you with anxiety. You can take that instead of melatonin. You can also try glycine, something I have not tried yet, which I'm going to start trying tonight. Glycine will help to relax you if you take 3 grams at night. And there's many other things, including deep breathing. 10 seconds on the in-breath and 15 seconds on the exhalation. And that will relax you into a deep sleep. Sleep's very important for anxiety. Cortisol levels, get those on check. High estrogen levels, if you're on birth control of any kind, if you have polycystic ovarian syndrome, if you have uterine fibroids, if you have breast cancer or tumors around your breasts, or tumors of any kind, if you have any symptoms of estrogen dominance, or if you take progesterone boosting type birth control, these things can cause insomnia. They can definitely cause anxiety. They can cause many other problems in your body that can cause anxiety. Making sure that you avoid birth control would be a wise idea. And balancing out your estrogen or any of your hormones using maca root, a higher dose, 5 to 15 grams of maca root a day. High quality maca, okay, gelatinized organic maca, not raw maca, but gelatinized maca. This should balance out your hormones in a period of 4 to 8 weeks, which will show you better quality sleep. So yeah, hormones, okay. And sodium deficiency. A lot of people don't realize it, but they actually have a sodium deficiency. Yes, sodium chloride, the common table salt, is unhealthy for you. Limit table salt. Limit sodium derivatives in processed foods, such as sodium nitrate, monosodium glutamate, or MSG. Did I ever say sodium nitrate? What else? Sodium, potassium sorbate, sodium ascorbate. There's so many artificial forms of sodium that are used as a preservative. These are bad for you, okay? Remove them. You shouldn't be consuming them at all. When people talk about sodium being bad for you, they're talking about the artificial sodium used as preservatives, or the MSG used as a flavor enhancer, or they are talking about sodium chloride or table salt. Remove those, and instead take 1/4 of a teaspoon all the way up to 1 whole teaspoon of Himalayan pink salt before bed, and 8 ounces of water, and go ahead and drink more water if you feel nauseous or if you feel thirsty. And this should help you sleep. It'll help to relax you, and it is required to turn off excess cortisol and to nourish your adrenal glands. Okay, this is a great thing. And when I started to consume more Himalayan salt in my water, not only did I stop drinking so much water, I didn't need as much. My body felt more hydrated. My lips were, not chapped anymore, and I was just more relaxed. It put me to sleep every time. Especially if you have cramps of any kind, that is a clear indication of a sodium deficiency. Okay, sodium is required for heart health, and it is required to relax your muscles, and it is required to hydrate the cells. Without sodium, all that water you drink is going to be useless. So if you're restricting sodium for any reason, you're retarded. I'm sorry. But sodium's not the bad guy. It is the artificial sodium. So yeah, for anxiety, you need more Himalayan salt or natural salt. Okay, there are so many other issues related to anxiety that can be causing anxiety, but these are all the main ones. I almost forgot another extremely common and very important cause of anxiety is nutrient deficiencies. B vitamins, especially vitamin B12, vitamin B6, vitamin B3. These deficiencies can definitely cause anxiety, and it would be a good idea to supplement with a high quality methyl vitamin B12. Try lower dose of niacin and vitamin B6 also. Also, things like selenium, iodine, magnesium is extremely important, vitamin D, vitamin K2, not K1, but vitamin K2, and there's two forms of vitamin K2. These are extremely important, okay? Chromium, there's many minerals and vitamins that people are lacking in their diet that can be a huge cause of anxiety. So making sure that you have definitely identified all of the possible nutrient deficiencies you can have, and you supplement with the highest quality, most bioavailable and effective forms of these vitamins or minerals is important, especially when it comes to things like magnesium, vitamin D, 5,000 IUs a day, even if you get enough sunlight, vitamin K2, which most people don't know what the fuck that is, and methyl vitamin B12. I mean, these are absolutely important. If you have nutrient deficiencies or you don't have your diet on check, you're going to have problems like anxiety. So get that shit taken care of. And actually, I just added this clip in at the end because I almost forgot about it. So back to the rest of the previously recorded video. And also food tolerances. If you consume a lot of beans, legumes, and complex carbs, grains, these things can actually be causing serious digestive problems. If you consume these foods and you have gas, any gas at all, but mainly consistent gas throughout the day, that's a clear indication of a bacterial imbalance in your intestines, which is usually caused by these harder to digest complex carbohydrates, okay? Complex, usually in the mainstream health, what they're talking about is, it takes longer to digest, and it's a slower releasing carbohydrate because it takes so much longer to digest. Well, guess what? The longer a carbohydrate takes to digest, the longer it'll be fermenting in your intestine. That is where grains and all these fibers and complex carbs are digested in your body. In the intestine, whenever you're farting, that means that your intestine is essentially digesting these carbs. Okay? If you want to test this out, completely remove all of these, the beans, remove the nuts and seeds, remove the brown rice and the so-called super nutritious grains and whole grains, and instead stick to only fruit for about 2 weeks and see how that makes you feel. Okay? I know this sounds fucking crazy, sounds completely against all the mainstream medical advice, but try it. And this may improve your sleep, this may improve your anxiety, and this will definitely cause weight loss if you're trying to lose weight. Okay? It's definitely worth a try. Food intolerances can definitely be a cause of anxiety and mood imbalances and insomnia. Also, if you are eating any kind of food coloring, and it's in a lot of conventional foods, it's non-organic foods at all. To make it easier for you, just stick to organic. But there is a strong correlation between food coloring and artificial sweeteners directly correlated to hyperactivity of the brain, which basically induces anxiety and insomnia. If you cut these artificial colors and artificial sweeteners out of your diet, you might notice an extreme difference in your relaxation and anxiety. Okay? You might start to notice less anxiety and less insomnia. As a rule of thumb, cut it out for about 2 months and make damn sure you're not consuming this crap in your diet, and maybe you'll feel better. Especially for people who have so-called allergies, sinus problems, or mysterious autoimmune disorders. A lot of times people are actually their body's reacting to these artificial additives. Also, try to remove all preservatives from your diet as well. You could just simply try your best to go organic, 100% organic for 2 weeks, cut out all the carbs, cut out the possible food intolerances, balance your blood sugar, and see what kind of effects you'll have. Okay? crazy, crazy fucking advice, right? But how many fucking people do you know who went from having crazy chronic panic attacks to being completely functional, relaxed, and so-called reversing, healing, or curing, if you want to call it that, their anxiety? I mean, seriously, it's worth a goddamn try. So, hope that helps. Leave your questions and comments and experiences down below, and I'll talk to you soon.